Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you today about the freebie finisher and the whole concept behind that freebie finisher so you can know what your next steps are in this process. So I want to share my screen really quick and let's see if I can get that to share. Share screen. Okay. Here we go. So here we have this opt-in, right? You've got this freebie finisher here, or the freebie, and then that freebie finisher. Well, first of all, you have your opt-in, and then you have your thank you page, and that global thank you page is going to steer people towards your other offers, and that could be something as simple as book a call with me, right? Especially for you guys in the service. Side, who's doing more of a service thing like real estate, and branding and stuff like that you guys are doing. So if you have that freebie finisher and you have your thank you page all set up, then you can steer people towards booking a call with you so you can get to know them and get them in your circle. But the important thing here is that freebie is going to get people, it's going to get new subscribers to come because every month you can offer a new freebie if you have the bandwidth to do that. If you don't, then maybe one freebie every quarter is a great place to start, and then you can increase your velocity as you get your more systems in place, right? So that freebie finisher is going to help you to easily add things to that freebie. So your freebie really only needs to be something that can be consumed in 5 minutes or something like that, right? That's really what a lead magnet is supposed to be, is something quick that they can use. And inside of that freebie finisher, you're going to have what's going on for the month. So that way you can put, like, for example, if you're in real estate, you could put all of your listings, or if you're running a special, if somebody books with you and you get to sell their home, then you can offer some sort of incentive or whatever it is that will entice them to sign up. So that freebie finisher is going to help you to get some things in place. It's templated, so you can do it fast, and then the body of your freebie will still give them value, still give them the information, but you can promote the things that you want to promote for that month. And then your thank you page is also going to steer them towards other freebies that you maybe had. And so if you have freebies in the past that have dated type of events in there, you'll want to probably remove those from that version now that those events are over, and just have them as a past thing that happened. You could leave them as well, and especially if they were events like, going live or whatever, then you can put links to the replays, which will help drive people to your YouTube channel and help to increase those views that you need to monetize your YouTube channel. So those are all some nice things that you can do that, worst case, if you don't convert a sale, or if you can't convert that particular person, at least you're getting them activated by downloading that freebie and then watching your content on the replay or whatever, and then maybe even purchasing something low cost from you if they're not ready for your high ticket stuff. And so those kind of things to have in place are really good foundational pieces that you really don't have to put a ton of effort in. The one thing that I really like about doing a monthly workbook is I theme my entire month, and it really helps me to plan out my content for the month. So what I mean by that is I have to be able to put the titles of each one of my lives in my workbook, and I need to put that workbook out by the first of the month, or before my first live. And so it just helps me get that all planned out and sort of outlined so that I can relax and not stress about what I'm going to talk about every week. It's already planned out, and I'm not planning it at the last second, because that gets kind of stressful and annoying. But you can see here, I have these other things. If you can see kind of my cursor here, once we get them into that freebie and then they see that freebie finisher, and once they download it, then you're taking them to some sort of an entry level offer. You're taking them not only with your thank you page, but also with that freebie finisher that's going to give them those next steps. So if they didn't take you up on that global thank you page, then on your little low cost offer, then you can still offer it in your freebie finisher. So remember what they say about sales, right? You got to talk to them, I don't know, it's between 7 and 13 times, right, before they say yes. And so this gives you 2 points where you're promoting that thing to them. And then, now they're aware of it. They're aware of what you offer. So then each time you promote, hopefully it finally gets them to a place where they're like, okay, yeah, I want to do this. And so that, that's the whole point, right? Is repetition, repetition, repetition. Okay. And so once you have these things in place, your entry level offer, if you don't have it right now, that's okay, because the whole point is for that entry level offer is to really extract something out of your main program that's going to give them a big win and really showcase your abilities, right? And your authority in your niche. And so if you don't have that done yet, that's okay. Just hold off on that for a moment while we talk about the next steps here. Because once you have people on your email list, now you can take them to an activating event, right? Some sort of audience activating event. And that's what we talk about, when I kind of showed you that 3-month drawing. I haven't, I should pull it up here, but I don't have it at the moment. But that 3-month drawing that, you know what? I might be able to get it. Hang on. Let me pull up. I don't know if I can do this, but I'll try. Okay. I'll see if it'll load. I doubt it because my computer's been goofed up. So anyway, so you have this 3-month thing, right? And within your 3-month cycle, you have 3 new freebies, or just one, if that's all your bandwidth is for now, that's okay. You have those 3 freebies, and then within each month, you want to have some sort of a promotional event. So for instance, you might have an email campaign where you're emailing and trying to get people onto a call, right? So that may be the only event you do for now. And that's okay, because it doesn't always have to be something massive, though those big events like a webinar, a masterclass, a boot camp, those kind of things are probably going to be more effective. But that doesn't mean you can't get clients trickling in by creating some sort of an email campaign and, like a Facebook campaign in your Facebook group where you invite people to a call and get them on that call. And then you can sell them up to your main program, the one you're known for, right? Your group coaching program, the services that you provide, whatever it is that you do in your main program. But you need something to activate that audience. So the email campaigns are great and they can work, but they're not the end all be all, because you kind of want to have a variety of things that you can rely on, right? And so those things would be a boot camp, a masterclass, a webinar, something like that. And so, or even like an open house or a retreat. And so what you want to do is then once you're basically doing a grow your list, have the event, and sell to them, right? And that's really what you're doing. So maybe your first month, you're creating that webinar or whatever it is that you're going to do. And then in that month and the second month, you're growing your list with your freebies. And then in that third month, you run that event and you run all the campaigns and the promotional things to promote that event and then get people to sign up. So if you think about it, if you have a large enough audience and you start looking at the numbers, right? 1% of, if you have 100 people, you might get 1 sale, right? If you have 200, maybe 2 sales, 3, 3 sales, 4 sales. If you're looking at just 1%, if you're looking at 2%, which is about the industry standard, 2 to 2.5%, you can be up to almost 10 sales if you can get, 400 people to sign up for your webinar. And that doesn't mean all those people have to show up to get that number. Sometimes, if you offer the replay, you can get people pulled in that way. I've had people in my boot camps, I never even knew they were there. They never even revealed themselves, and yet they still booked a call with me and signed up for my program. So you just don't know. And so the point is that no matter what happens, even if you don't have a lot of people show up or a few people only, is to just continue on. The show must go on. Do your thing. Do your whole sales and promotional sequences and follow it all the way through, because number one, you're going to have a system now that you can rely on. You can repeat over and over and over again. And then you'll just never know, right? You might get some people that come out of the woodworks and actually, buy from you. So don't discount it just because people don't show up, or that you didn't know they showed up, right? So anyway, so here's what I'm talking about, right? Is that you're going to go from this opt-in point, to this audience activating event. And then you'll be selling to your group coaching program or your one-on-one program or your service program, whatever it is. And so if you think about that process and you start creating repeatable systems, then it'll be easier for you to sort of mix and match, right? Whatever you feel like doing. So one of my coaches, a previous coach that I had, her name is Melissa Ricker. She does a live launch, a 5-day boot camp every single month. That's what she does. She doesn't do anything else, no webinars, anything. She does have an entry-level offer that helps offset her ad costs so that she can just run ads, and that entry-level offer pays for her ads, so she doesn't have that expense. But to me, that was too rigorous, because that really turns into pretty much a 2-week it's kind of stressful. Well, I guess it's not totally stressful. If you rinse and repeat, it gets easier, of course, right? But I just didn't want to have that kind of a rigorous schedule. And so what I want to do is I have like a boot camp template that is a little system that I can run at any time. And then I have a webinar template that I can do and run at any time because I have it all set up. And then I could have, a retreat or a masterclass or a workshop. So each time you add one, you want to have that system. And then you can just sort of keep all the little assets and resources that you need to set that up in, a little file folder, so that you can just go to it and then swap out the topic or whatever it is that you're going to do, or repeat that topic. So if you think about something like a quarterly system where you have one main event, and if you can sell, if you can get a big enough audience, you could sell, 10 spots. Let's say you can sell 10 spots into your program if you bring in like 400 or 500 people. And when you do that, you could do that just once a quarter, but you can mix and match your programs, right? So maybe one quarter you do a boot camp, one quarter you do a masterclass, one quarter you do some sort of a workshop or a retreat or whatever. And then you get variety, so you don't get bored, one. And you can market to different types of people, different types of groups too, right? So not everybody can attend a live boot camp that's 5 days a week, for whatever time in the middle of the day or whatever, but they might be able to do a masterclass, a 90-minute masterclass or 60-minute masterclass or something like that. So you can pull in for different types of people that could, really make a difference in how you gather people. Plus you can trickle in too. So, sorry, I got distracted, but So you could also compress that once you have your systems in place, then you can compress it into 3 months. So maybe the first month you have an email campaign. The second month you have a webinar. The third month you do a boot camp, and then you just repeat. But now you have these systems in place, and you don't even have to change the topic. But what that does for you is it helps with audience fatigue. So you don't necessarily have to create a brand new Facebook group every time you have a boot camp, that kind of thing, because that can get hard. One of the ways that gets hard is that you have a pop-up Facebook group, and then pretty much all those people that joined your Facebook group leave. It's very hard to get them to come back to your regular group that stays alive all the time, right? And so that's just one of the ways that you can avoid that, is just by not having a pop-up group. And you can avoid audience fatigue by having a variety of events in your Facebook group, throughout the year, rather than the same one over and over and over and over again. So if you're going to do that, you probably do want to do a pop-up group. But if you're not, if you want to have a variety of events, then you could do it in your group. Now, here's the thing. You run the risk of spreading yourself pretty thin in terms of having these different promotions and doing these things promotionally. So that's why I suggest doing something at the quarter level first, and then you can increase your velocity as you go, as you build in some of these foundational systems, so that you don't just get too bogged down where you can't do anything. But the other thing too is that you could be spreading yourself a little bit thin in terms of your focus, right? Like Russell Brunson says, pick one funnel and stick with it until you make $1 million, right? And that, I believe that to be true if that's the lifestyle that you want to live, and you can do that. And so if you want to do a boot camp every month, you could probably make $1 million fairly fast if you reinvest your money, keep reinvesting, and get the help you need so that you can keep up with the pressure, I guess, or the rigorous schedule of doing a monthly live challenge, like a boot camp. Because that boot camp, it turns out to be like five days of the challenge itself, and then you've got to have like a warm-up type of trainings and different things on the front end. You've got to have, once you open cart, you've got to have some bonus training stuff to keep people engaged until you close cart. And so it does end up being like 10 to 12 days of you having to go live and do, provide content and all that stuff. One of the good things about having a boot camp every month is you don't have to come up with weekly content as much, because you're running a boot camp all the time. And so there's, some good and bad. So it's really up to you and the lifestyle that you want and you have in mind for yourself. There's another coach that I've worked with. Her name is Lindsay Maloney, and that's where I've gotten some of these ideas about the freebie finisher and that thank you page. I just took it one step further, but she takes a more relaxed approach. She still does boot camps. She still does these things, but she also has webinars. On occasion, she does them live. So I think like once a quarter, she'll do those webinars live, but the rest of the time, those webinars are available on demand. And just by going to her course, going to her free stuff on her website, you can get it. You can schedule, get on the schedule for it, or you can book a time when you want to actually basically run the automated webinar, even though it might feel like it's live, it's not. But I love that idea, because then she's got all these things working for her constantly, and it doesn't depend on her having to be there the whole entire time. So think about that as you're starting to build this out. So this entry-level offer is going to be something that you pull out of your system, your main system. And the reason why you want to do that is because you don't really want to, you don't want to veer off into something that's not part of the scope of what you teach in your main program, because that takes you out of your wheelhouse possibly, but two, it takes you out of focus of where you're really trying to take your people. Remember, you're doing an offer ladder, right? That's why I have this set up looking like stairs, right? Because you have this offer ladder, and in that offer ladder, you're creating a path to purchase and a path to transformation for your potential clients. And so at this point, they become a subscriber right at the beginning when they opt in. If they purchase some entry-level offer from you, they are a customer, and then you want to turn them into clients. And that really is that roadmap, and that audience activating event is what's going to help you book more people, possibly, or just, have that event that you can activate people and you can get people coming in. So remember, though, that 2.5%, I mean, it's pretty much held true for me, like all the time. Like if I grow my audience by, by 250 people, like in the last few months, I grew my list. Oh yeah, maybe 300 people, something like that. And I made, 2 high ticket sales and 6 low ticket sales. So I pretty much, got what I was going to get out of that list. Now that doesn't mean that people won't come out of the woodworks later, or, as I nurture and help them and do the things that I do, they might come later to me. So I never give up on that list. I just know that it helps to keep getting a fresh audience. You're always bringing in people, and that's where that freebie finisher comes in, because it gives you an opportunity to provide something fresh that, one, your subscribers can get to kind of reactivate them and get them interested in what you're doing again. And it helps you have a vehicle to promote out on the web, to bring in new clients in an organic way, so that you don't have to run so many ads. But, you may still need to run ads, especially for an event. And so this will help to help you start finding your target market and, all of those things, so that you can refine your Facebook ads, because I'm telling you, Facebook ads have gotten pretty hard. It's real hard to get the audience right and to get the targeting right nowadays with all the privacy issues. So just keep that in mind as you go, that freebie that you're creating. My dogs are going to bark really loud here just a second, so be aware. But that freebie is really going to be that vehicle to continue to grow your list. And then once you get them in, try not to take too long between the time they come in and you're having some sort of audience activating event, so that you can sell your high ticket programs. Now, my current coach, she suggests that when you have like a boot camp, that boot camp would be something where you then sell to your group coaching program, and a webinar or masterclass would be where you might sell to your one-on-one program. It really depends on what you offer and what you feel is your strongest offer at that moment. So, but here's the thing is, selling your one-on-one is just, all you have to do is upsell to a call, basically, and get them on a call, and then you can talk to them about your program. You don't have to have a lot of stuff in place in order to sell them to your one-on-one program. Where, some other things, you might have to have more things in place, like a group coaching program or whatever. You may have to have more in place, like a sales page, because you're not necessarily going to get on a sales call with each and every person that's going to sign up for your group coaching program. It really depends, but anyway, that's kind of how this all works together. And so not only are you building like a quarterly system that's going to serve you, where you have a quarterly theme, a quarterly theme. I guess I don't need to share that anymore. It's my notes. Where you have a quarterly theme, and within that theme, you have 3 monthly themes that are sort of tied to that main quarterly theme. And then within those monthly themes, you have a freebie that has to do with those themes, with that monthly theme. And then your content for that month is supporting that freebie, right? Is supporting and promoting that freebie, because it's basically pulling little pieces out of what you have in the freebie and then teasing with those things, and then getting them to get that workbook and sign up for that workbook or whatever, right? And then you can make short little videos. You can do all kinds of stuff with your social media. But that doesn't mean you have to do it all at once. Remember that we're doing the good enough principle. And that good enough principle means that, you're just going to build what you can build now so that you can get going and bring in some money. And then the next iteration, you might do a little bit more. Maybe you'll get better at your, writing your sales page. Maybe you'll get better at doing social media, get better at doing a sales call, those kinds of things. So remember, it's an iterative process. So just because something fails does not mean it's a failure, right? All you have to do is, do your lessons learned, do that retrospective, and see where you can improve things, and then, make notes, and then start improving those things as you go. And, it's a process. But the thing is that your business today is not going to be the same business a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. It's not going to be where it is today. And if you focus on building for the future, what you're going to have in a year, 2 years, 5 years is going to be a system that manages a lot of sales and promotions and activating events and selling to your big ticket items, so that you can enjoy your business and not just be a slave to it, doing something over and over and over again in a random way. Instead, you're putting a system in place, like, okay, this is how we do it. We create 12 emails. This is the system for the emails. This is how we do it. That's the promotion piece. On the other end, after we open cart, then we have a series of emails. We have a series of social posts. We have a series of, like, there's other activities that you may do, like contacting people, reaching out to people that show up to your thing or whatever, right? So those are the systems that you want to get in place. That's going to make it easier for you, because you don't have to think so hard, right? You just pull out your little plan and you just follow your plan. Okay, so that's what we're creating, and that's what I'd like to see you guys do as you sort of build out. We're not building the plan first necessarily. We're outlining the plan, and then as you do it, then you start putting what works for you into a plan that you can repeat over and over and over again. So that's kind of the idea. That's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily have a plan in place. But I do have things like, a launch planner where you can, it's in the Business Builder Starter Pack. No, it's in the Take Charge of Your Biz bundle, and it's just for a launch. So you can kind of see like a 4-week schedule on what you would do to plan a live boot camp. And that gives you like 4 weeks. What do you do? 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, that sort of thing. So, the next step would be, okay, what do you do after cart opens and that sort of thing. So anyway, that's what we're going to be working on. I'm going to be working on documenting this stuff so I can get it out to you. But in the meantime, we want to make one that's custom for you. So make sure that you are following what we're talking about, and understand that now that you have this freebie and you're going to start building your audience, you want to start planning for an event that you can activate your new audience and get them to come to that event, so that you can sell them to your group coaching program, your one-on-one program, or your services that you provide. All right, you guys, I hope that helps. And please let me know if you have any questions. and I will get some answers to you. Okay, thanks. Bye.